ding, ding. It's what a game, lads. It's the Manchester United agenda. It's the 30th of October. It's Ruud Day. I'm delighted to be joined here by our MVP of the agenda for today. He's done a watch along. He's dressed. He's conscious. It's Mr.
B. Yeah, I am conscious just about. Well, I'm conscious just about, man.
But you're happy. It's the most important thing.
Yeah, I think we all are. I think as a fan base, and I'm going to talk for myself. I needed that. Ten Hag had been sucking the life out of me, and I think it's only today that you realise what United actually means. I mean, I was so happy. I don't care, and I was happy when we beat Barnsley 7-0. You know what I mean? I'm not going to sit here and pretend, but this today, I think just meant more. The fact that he's gone, Ruud, they say it's his one game. It might be a second game, but they look to be more hunger in the team. I'm not going to sit here and say that, they should have been playing for Ten Hag. You go into it every day, and it just grinds you down. And maybe that's what it got to with them half time, to be fair. But it's nice. It was nice. It was nice today. It was really, it was a good enjoyable game where you feel, okay, there's things that can be done. There's things that we can improve on. And Casemiro's proved that he's not dead.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it reminds me of like one of them films where like a middle-aged divorced woman like gets out of a bad marriage and runs around like listening to ABBA or something. It felt like cathartic. I'm really, really pleased, because what I was a bit worried about was, what if the performance wasn't there tonight? What if they just were a bag of shit as always? But I think that has kind of put the full stop on the Ten Hag era, that we can see that these players can perform, they can attack, they can defend, and they look like a sort of like a throwback to the old Manchester United sides. Everyone enjoying themselves, attacking in union, like courage on the ball, sensible decision making, like decent individual performances, winning their duels. I'm really, really pleased from what I've seen. Like, it's just so good, isn't it?
I think I'm not going to say it can only get better, because we've supported them long enough to know that it can get worse. But I don't think it will. It doesn't feel. I don't know, man. They just, as I said, somebody in the chat put about shackles being taken off. I think it was, and I'm not sure it was just. I'm not going to say it was a new manager bounce, because they know Ruud's not the new manager. I'm not sure if they were doing it to impress. I think they were doing it for themselves. A lot of it seemed to be. So you talk about individual duels. We've seen games where you've got 5 players winning battles. Right? Lindelof got shoved off the ball early. But apart from that, I didn't really see United losing too much 50-50s. So there was a little bit of aggression there as well. So, and there was little bits that I kind of, obviously we spoke about De Ligt playing wide right. Do you think it's too soon for Amorim to have given information to Ruud? Do you think this was Ruud's style of play? Do you think he was influenced by who was coming in and what he wants, or what he's doing, looking for players?
Of course. I think. Sorry, I've just got. Can I delete this? I can't. Bloody Twitch bots. I think, right, that the way that the team is set up, the structure is set up, that we expect that there's going to be a lot of sort of involvement, a lot of different ideas from like Ashworth and Wilcox and so on, that they're going to be given, like they've given feedback and suggestions to Ten Hag. I think that it will be the same with Ruud, that he has received suggestions, and I'm fairly sure that there were a couple of like instructions from, let's say, from the Amarin side tonight. One of which was the position of Mazraoui. Like he came on as the sort of left-sided centre back, and then he sort of went into midfield a little bit. I think it's that tonight a couple of players were put in positions to see how they can get on, and I think that that's all pretty sensible. Like no one was asked to do anything wild. Like we didn't have like Casemiro in goal or like I don't know Johnny Evans on the wing.
Or
like,
Mazraoui as a number 10.
Yeah, it's well. That is something that I think we're going to look back on in years when he played Mazraoui at number 10. But anyway, we do have some comments in here tonight, and I think that we've all shared in the pain this season, so we should share with our comments what's going on. Bilal has come in to say he's got jokes about Facebook. I do enjoy that Bilal doesn't really care about chatting football. We just
I know he just goes in and chats nonsense. Yeah, you're allowed. You're allowed. It's fine.
Of course, you're allowed. Like, you can do as long as you don't say anything offensive. You can talk. You can do what you want in the comments. They're yours. We got Hap James. Smiles on the players' faces. Not seen that for a long time. Extremely noticeable. I felt that the players looked. Because I don't always want them to look like they're enjoying themselves, to be honest.
Why? If they're winning.
Because, yeah, if they're winning, it's fine. But like, I want them to sort of show aggression, commitment, professionalism, and smiling. I'm not a massive fan on a football pitch, to be perfectly honest. Like, do that when the game is finished, and obviously when you've scored a goal and stuff. But I don't want a bunch of jokers like having fun on the pitch. I want a proper team. But I understand what you mean, that like the players look like they were enjoying themselves. The wildlife machine. Ruud for the United job, like I suggested weeks ago. I think you're a bit late to that, aren't you, wildlife? Have we not had a here we go for Amarin? We got Agile Beast. Evening. I thought our attacking play was excellent. I noticed that the players had the freedom to go into different areas of the pitch to open up space and create chances. Oh, I couldn't disagree more. Agile Beast.
Bruno played a lot of the second half wide left.
My understanding, I'll get to Bruno's performance a bit later. What I saw, Agile, is that under Ten Hag, we liked a lot of fluidity, a lot of interchanging, a lot of people going into different areas and their teammates being asked to cover. What I saw tonight was mainly players stuck in their zones, and their defending and their attacking was based on how high or low they were. Someone like Delo. I felt that players weren't like going into different areas of the pitch. Like they weren't going from wide to inside. Like when Ahmad came on, he pretty much played inside the majority of the game, and Delo was the guy that was supplying width. And I think that that's easier for players to deal with. Like, this is what you're going to be doing. You're going to be supplying width. You need to get back. You need to get forward, depending on the state of the game. And that's how I saw it. But maybe that's the point that you mean, that the freedom to go means to go higher up the pitch. Chat Sport, instant bounce, instant improvement in performance. We've seen this before. Give it a season. Look, live in the moment, Chat Sport.
Be happy for the next 24 hours. Be happy for the next 24 hours.
Oh dear. Where was Eth watching from tonight? I don't care.
I don't. Yeah. Yeah.
But this was interesting. We would never have seen Xerxes and Højlund on the pitch at the same time, even whilst winning significantly. That's something we're going to discuss a little bit later, because I was a little bit shocked when I suddenly realised that Højlund hadn't been the sub for Xerxes. Oh my God, it's Beefy Mario. I'll hopefully be a much more positive person. The last 10 years have been rough. All right. And it's Brushy, quarterfinals, baby. Is the draw tonight?
Yeah, the draw is, yeah.
Okay.
I've got something on, so I assume they will be showing the draw. But if not, then I'm sure somebody will let us know anyway.
Retro77 is saying a smart, emotional player with an evil grin. That's my player. Get in and saying we'll draw Liverpool. I'll take anyone.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm not. I don't care. I'm not bothered who we get. To be fair, yeah, I would like somebody really trashy, but I don't know who went through. I know, who went through Newcastle.
I've no idea.
Yeah, I know Newcastle beat Chelsea. That was the only one that I really know.
Can someone tell us who's in the draw then? Look, you're meant to be. You're performing.
Sorry.
You've got to be present. You can't be on your phone. That's a fine.
I'll take
Solo's
it today.
Turned up to he's been fined, Solo.
What was your score? His was the most negative score prediction. We deserve better than 2-2. Everybody did 3s, a couple of 4s. Solo comes in with 2-1. Are you happy today? Are you happy that we won?
I think Jeff did 2-0 to Leicester as well. He got booed for that.
Did he do 2-1?
Yeah. Right, Flex is in. Newcastle, Palace, Liverpool, Arsenal are in the draw. Spurs are playing City at the moment. Oh, good one, Chat Sport.
So what? It didn't go to full time. They didn't. I thought Tottenham were winning that game.
They were 15 minutes ahead of us, behind us.
Okay.
Cake fine from Solo. You've got. Does that mean anything to you?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Oh no. Right. You might get tomatoed here. The wife just threw 6 cricket balls at me. What's up? I asked. It's over, she replied.
Ooh.
I mean, that's some really poor work.
That's where I said anything Yabba's ever said. Ever.
He said Xerxes was a cross between tomatoes. Yabba did say Xerxes was a cross between Batistuta, Ronaldinho, and Baggio or something.
I know, but he backed Ten Hag until the day after he got sacked. So look, we know his opinions. We know Yabba's opinion sometimes. So yeah,
he's probably with Eric Ten Hag tonight. Both of them crying. So City are out. City out. You're welcome, Bilal. You've got Andrew in. No doubt he'll find something negative to tell us.
No, he won't. He was
totally.
He was over the moon. He was over the moon. Come on, tell him.
I saw him dissing Delo in the first half. I thought Delo was excellent in the second half.
Yes, he's allowed to diss him in the first half. Then if he was excellent in the second
half, he had an assist in the. I thought that one of the things that really impressed me, Mr. B, and I want to talk about how tonight's performance was much different to what we see with Ten Hag, is that you're a manager. You know that when you've had a bit of a beating in the first half, but you're still in the game, you've got to come out. You've got to do something different, aggressive on the front foot, right? So if you were in that position and the score was what was it, 4-2 at halftime?
Yeah.
Right. If you're setting your lads out and they're 4-2 down, what are you saying to them, and what are you expecting to see first 10 minutes?
You want to try and get that goal back. You want to try and you want to be aggressive, and that's what they were for 10 minutes, really.
Yeah.
Leicester wise, but do you think that they were told to just hold because they didn't go after Leicester? I mean, they didn't have to. They were 4-2 up.
Well, so I think. All right, so this is what impressed me, because like whenever I've been in those situations, normally it's about getting an extra man forward, trying to force them back, like being more aggressive, trying to pin the team in, and as you say, get an extra goal. Under sort of Ten Hag, I think that when we won the ball in those situations, we booted it up the pitch and we tried to play basketball, transition football. I was so impressed with Bruno Fernandes tonight, where after about 8 minutes of having that pressure on, he just calmed everything down. We got into a structure. We played nice and safe. We controlled the game and we moved up the pitch. And after that, Leicester only really carried a threat on an odd set piece or a transition. And I felt that was a really mature performance from the team.
Do you think it was more because Ten Hag wanted to get the ball up the pitch so quickly? It seemed today that the team built in the formation that they were set up to play in.
Exactly.
There wasn't the gaps. The gaps weren't there, but they got. I'm saying they didn't rush. They didn't rush getting the ball forward, but it still got forward quickly. But it seemed like the whole team went up sort of at the same time. If you know what I mean, It was weird. Yeah.
Well, it's not weird. That's how you play football, in my opinion. Like you advance like up. You advance up as a unit. And I think that what we saw was, all right, so Andrea said the midfield is excellent tonight. And I think a large part of this is down to what you were saying. I completely agree. I've always been Ugarte skeptical. But he was brilliant tonight because one of his big problems is he can't slow down when he's tackling. Like Casemiro, say the same thing. He'll slide in. Ugarte will sell himself.
He didn't slide to there at all, Casemiro, did he?
Yeah, and that's because of the space that they were asked to cover. When you're going through first phase play, second phase play, third phase play, and you're doing it nice and slow and regimented and getting up the pitch, you don't have as much space that you need to cover because the lines are closer with each other. And so I think that we saw that, like elite baller, shout out to you. I think that when you saw Casemiro and Ugarte like holding hands like young lovers in the middle of the pitch, nice and close to each other, you saw them bringing out the best of them. Like Casemiro could just go off slightly. You could just drop at a little angle that gives him just enough time to get the ball and play a lovely channel ball out. Like, for example, for Garnacho's goal, where Delo, basically playing as a right winger again, got in that channel. I just think that what we saw was an actual football match where we're not leaving huge spaces, that we're not trying to force things. Like one thing that impressed me so much in the second half was Bruno playing out on the left, like he was left midfield essentially. What he was doing was he was receiving the ball and then he was giving very, very simple balls inside, and that was manipulating their shape because they'd have to come out to Bruno, then he'd knock it inside, and we'd have a runner.
You'd have a runner breaking in, yeah.
And that's the type of football that I like playing and that I like seeing, where you're not forcing things, that there's a plan. And so when that ball goes out wide, for example, you know that
you've got somebody running through. Yeah.
Like, so I was really, really pleased with that. So give me your thoughts on all of that waffle I've given you, and then we'll look at the comments.
Well, as I said, I was more. The second half was the first half had gone. I was excited in the first half, so I don't remember. The second half, I tried to watch where players were playing, and it just didn't seem to be the wide open spaces that we had been playing with. That's more what struck me more. I mean, the fact that Xerxes and Højlund stayed on the pitch, and Xerxes played 85 minutes. They're normally pulling him off a lot earlier.
It looked like he was going to die at 70 minutes.
Yeah, but you know what? You have to go through that pain half time. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, man.
I like it, to be honest.
Yeah. You know why? Because then the next game, it's like pre-season, innit? You blow your backside out in the first couple of games. By the time the season starts, you're then ready to go. I don't know, man. I feel he's going to offer us something, but I don't know what it's going to be.
I have an idea of what it might be, but we'll discuss it. We'll discuss it tomorrow. But I felt I told you I'm going to do the comments. Why are you front-running me like this?
Sorry.
Honestly, you and Yappa, you're just addicted to pressing things. It's like dealing with children. There's an order and stuff. Right. We've got Mark Ugarte in the house. Brilliant performance today, Mark. Good evening, Mr. B in bath time, and big up everyone in the chat. Fantastic win for us tonight. And you've put a series of emojis in, but I don't know what they are because StreamYard's rubbish.
Yeah, I can't see him.
Andrew, Darius, sometimes I don't know what the F you watch. Yeah, it's almost like football is like there's no objective truth in it, Andrew. Cass scored a cracking goal. Now, this was really good as well because that is from the half space. And recently, and I think everyone can, I'm not sure if everyone will agree with this, but Garnacho's performances have been pretty frustrating, I think, over the last couple of weeks. And tonight, we once again saw him get the ball, and he's like a crackhead. He doesn't know what to do. It's just run about.
Just runs.
And what I like, and what I think that modern football is about using that area where Casemiro scored from. And Casemiro has always been excellent there. If you think back to the game against West Ham, Bruno's header came from a cross from Casemiro in that half space. And Casemiro showed that the football hasn't left him tonight. And by getting players into those areas and giving them the ball, you score goals. And I think that was a big thing tonight, was the importance of Bruno in zone 14, all those little balls inside to Xerxes and things, like nice little 5-yard reverse balls, beautiful stuff. Elite baller. Ten Hag only played them once together and we scored 7 goals that day and 5 today. Yeah. It's almost like his understanding of a football match wasn't quite up to scratch, Elite Baller. All right. Andrew Williams. Bayender 5. I thought he was good, Bayender.
Yeah, he made a great save in the second half, one that he tipped onto the bar as well.
Yeah, I thought he was... I mean, I don't know if he could have done a bit better at holding some shots. I don't think he could have saved the one that kissed both.
Oh, he gave the goal away. He did that weak punch, didn't he?
Did he? Okay,
yeah.
Maybe. I think a 6. Delo for improved second half. I thought Delo was good. Mazraoui 6. I'd be tempted to give him a little bit higher, to be honest, but he only played a half.
5. He gave it a 5.
To be fair, we did concede 2 goals from set pieces, but as always, I'm going to blame those on Martinez. I am. They were in his zones.
Yeah, but the first one, Casemiro went for the... Was it the second one? The second one.
First one, they looked for Ugarte and Martinez, and they put it on them, and neither of them could... I think one of them made first contact, but it wasn't a good enough header, and then it came back in. And the second one, we've seen this from Casemiro. He gets a bit too alpha at times, and he leaves his zone to try and do something. Like he did this in the FA Cup final, crossing his pivot, which should be illegal. But once again, I felt it was Martinez's zone. But so Casemiro 8, no issues. Ugarte 7, yeah. Bruno 7's pretty high for Andrew. Rashford 6, I agree. Garnacho 6, yeah. Xerxes 4. I think if you're giving Delo 4, Xerxes got to be lower, but at least he's a bit more involved in the second half. But he was the only one. All right. Elite Baller agrees with Andrew on this. Casemiro was our best defender and most dangerous attacker tonight.
He was brilliant, man. He was just brilliant tonight.
All right. Pass and move, triangles. Okay. Have you got any more chat sport? That's quite generic these days to sort of say that kind of stuff. Like,
save it for tomorrow.
Yeah, you've got to jazz it up with very silly terms. Like he's playing like a bloodhound or something like that, a box to box Pythagorean like gymnast. I really like how Ruud treated Abad. Yeah, like he's just a nice man, Ruud.
Yeah,
he's got a human touch to him.
It's yeah. I don't know what to say. Every time I think about watching him, he just puts a smile. I just think he's fantastic, man. I just think he's fantastic, man.
And he was a bastard back in the day. Like, he's done some pretty dodgy stuff, but
Yeah,
he's just
agreed.
a good man. And I think that his treatment of Ahmad, like, you know, he was hugging Ahmad at the weekend, and Ahmad looked like he was about to cry. But Ahmad came on excited today, and he didn't. I mean, he didn't do anything wrong. He didn't do anything particularly right. And I think that we should stop treating Ahmad like a victim and a special boy, and just treat him like a footballer.
He doesn't waste the ball. Ahmad does not give the ball away. That's why
he doesn't release the ball quickly enough. That's his big issue. Is that when he gets the ball, he's very pretty. He's got great technique. He's got awesome balance, and he's got more strength than you would think. Like he turned a player nicely, but in that position, what Ahmad's job is to do is to tie defenders up and then pass the ball inside into the half space, and he doesn't do it quickly enough.
Do you think that he would be somebody who would play on the left?
No.
You know what? Now talk about. Sorry, talk about this tomorrow.
No, we can talk about it. I've still got another game I've got to watch. I'm only up to 3 sporting games now. All right, and this is something that I think is true of Ahmad as well. Garnacho's still our biggest goal threat, but my God, he needs coaching. That's completely true. Is that my issue with Garnacho is I don't like the fact that he's our entry into the penalty area.
Yeah, because he's only got one thing in mind. I agree.
Yeah, that's my only issue. And the thing is that what I like was I felt that our wingers, I'll say winger because they're providing width, but Rashford, Bruno, Garnacho, they were a lot deeper tonight. I felt that they weren't like sort of the most forward player. And I felt that gave them a bit more time and space to do stuff. And I think that Bruno did the most with that time and space by manipulating the block. And Garnacho, he's still too febrile, Mr. B. He's too excitable.
I don't know what that means.
It means excitable, febrile.
Cool.
So it's always important to learn.
To be fair, I'm probably going to forget what you said to me in the next 20 minutes, but I don't think I've ever heard that word before. So yeah, I'm not going to act like I don't nod and act like I know. I didn't know what it meant. So yeah, cheers for educating me, man.
That's all right. I didn't know what skinning teeth meant before I came on this channel. And now I do. We can all learn from each other. Ahmad, good kid. I really like him. But at United, we need 10 goals. Yeah, we need 20 goal contributions from our wingers. I mean, there's other stuff that's important, but this is a sort of like this is something that I agree with. There's got to be cold, hard numbers at the end of the day from top players. You know what I mean? Like you look at Salah and Saka and like the real top players in that position. And if we want to get to there, we can't be sort of like glamorizing and fetishizing players that we like. We've got to like be a bit more kind of brutal about what we need from players in that position. And at the moment, Ahmad is a lovely story and we all like him, lovely boy, but he's not really there yet. And I'd say the same for Garnacho, to be honest.
No, Garnacho's not there. No, he's not. He's not. I'm not going to say he's not going to get replaced. I don't think they're looking to play somebody else on that side. But as Andrew said, he needs to be coached, man. There's certain positions that you get up on the pitch. I was watching him today, and I knew he was either going to go past him or cut back and waste the cutback pass. Yeah, I just everything he does is too fast.
Yeah, like look at Grealish, right? Grealish was a really flary, exciting player at Villa, and he's now a treble winner. And when he gets the ball, he is slow. He kind of minces into the box, taking little tippy tappy touches, and that is something that we see from lots of great wingers like in Europe. And I think that Ahmad and Garnacho need to do things slower and with more intent. And It's fine because they're young, but with Amorim coming in and the coaching staff, I want to see more expectations and pressure put on them to develop aspects of their game. The same way I was livid when no one beat up Xerxes for coming in and saying, I'm not a goal scorer. You have to be a goal scorer. You're a forward for Manchester United.
Yeah. He's a 9.5.
Nah, I'm not.
Yeah,
not
no,
doing
I'm not. No,
mathematics.
I'm not interested either. But I want him to bang the goal. I want him to take his chances. Yeah, agreed.
All right, it's Simon Warner. Good evening to you. Great result. Shame it wasn't a league match. I'm delighted. Beefy Mario, Garnacho at left wing back. What do you think? I think a solid no. Andrew is comparing like Garnacho and Ahmad to Palmer, who got 23 goal and assists last year, and he's on 11 for this season. And that's kind of output that we're looking for. Jeff is in. He's saying Ahmad is pressing and not playing free flowing. He thinks he has to flash in the short time he has. Okay, right. I understand what you mean, where because he has limited game time and limited minutes, he's got to be perfect. He's got to do, there's too much pressure on him because in the past, Anthony would just walk in. Like, I think that's all changed now. And hopefully we get a clean slate for everyone. Why did we keep Xerxes on the pitch? Højlund should have replaced him, not Garnacho. Okay, maybe we can kick off from here. What did you think are any implications of the fact that we saw, 10, 12 minutes of having two strikers on the pitch?
I think that's a Ruud thing. I think that was a Ruud thing. I don't think Amorim. Well, do you know what? Saying that, who knows? Who knows what he's thinking? I'll just go on it today. I was glad that they had two strikers on the pitch. It meant that, they weren't getting themselves out. I have no idea whether he played two up top at PSV. I'm going to assume it was the one. But you can have players playing in positions, but they offer something else. You could have a defensive, what they call it, Anthony, a defensive winger. I'd never heard of that. I'd never heard of a defensive winger. But
Dirk Kuyt?
Was he a winger?
Yeah, Dirk Kuyt was a defensive winger many, many years ago, a Liverpool player.
Fuck me. Okay. Well, yeah. Okay.
Parchy's son?
No, he was the winger, man. He was a rat, man. He was a fucking...
He was a rat, was he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he got... he never let... He was like a dog with a bone, man. Tell him to man mark him, and he was... That player was done. That player was out of the game.
I loved Park. I like players like that. What I thought was interesting, Mr. B, is that did you see the lines that they were playing on? Like, I don't think that Xerxes and Højlund were level. I think that Xerxes was in a more number 10 role, like with his back to goal and Højlund running the channels. That's something a lot of people have asked for. Like, did you see them dovetailing at all? Do you think that that's something that could be a future?
Not really. I didn't see much combinations between them. But again, because how the game played, maybe if they had started together, we would have seen more combinations, and it would have been something that was more pronounced in what we could see. I'm not sure. They were on, and they were on together, but you didn't see any chemistry or anything like that. I don't think. No, I think they were just on. Maybe not for the sake of being on, but yeah.
I think what they were doing was that they were giving us more space in wide areas. So I think that it was really helping Ahmad that like there were two of them on the pitch, like whether, and Wheatley obviously coming on later, that it meant you had a bit more space to operate in those areas. And I think that Bruno looked really good as well because he just had a little bit more time and space because we had sort of two central strikers up front. But we should probably talk about the performance of like Xerxes and where do we go with him, because he was a real black spot in that first half, and he did not impress me again this evening.
I want him to settle. See, we want everything now. We've got to give him, Barada said, players are going to get a year and a half, 2 years. If they don't perform in that time, they're out. Players always need settling in time. He feels, or he felt, or feels that he's not a goal scorer. We spent 30-odd million pound on a striker. We're going to make him a goal scorer. So I think that, if he's going to have 25 assists in a season, fine. You don't need to score. You don't need to score. I will take the 25 assists. But I don't see he has that in him at the moment. I'm not going to say he doesn't, because I didn't watch him before he came. I had no idea he was a cross between Ronaldinho and Batistuta.
Of course.
He's going to be a work in progress, but he's the one who's probably under, I'm not going to say the most pressure, but as soon as he's come, there's rumors that he wants. He hasn't even been here 2 months, 3 months, and they're talking
People
about.
People don't like him though, do they?
Why?
Well, Stuart has said, Stuart Marshall, our match-going correspondent, has said that there's a lot of with the away support and with the home support. There's a lot of disappointment in the work rate, the fact that he won't run in behind, that he seems to be a similar player to Martial, but Martial was of a higher quality because he could score goals.
He seemed to be running a bit today. He chased down a lot of,
That's right at the beginning, a delict over the top down the channel.
Yeah,
the guy slipped
as well. He chased a lot of, the balls that you've got no chance. You've got no chance of getting. But
Tevez balls.
Yeah, the ones where, if the goalie might make that mistake 1 in 500 times, but you've still got to make the run. I thought he did that when he was
there was one in the second half where if he'd had intent and had been expecting a poor pass, I think he'd have beaten the goalkeeper to it.
Oh yeah, that's the one where he tried to cut. He tried to cut back inside.
Yeah. That I call that kid on football. That's just performative. That's what you're doing when you're trying to show everyone that you're playing without actually doing it. Rasmus Højlund did something similar against West Ham as well. The players don't seem to believe in the press. And today, at one moment, I couldn't believe it. One of the most effective counter presses I've ever seen Manchester United do just suddenly happened, in their right back area on about 17 minutes. It was brilliant.
See,
Ugarte and everyone.
Do you think it's easy? Obviously, it's easier to press with less space to press in. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. It's the distance is different because you've arrived up there as a unit. The distance between the lines.
It's because you can kind of sniff that you might have an opportunity of getting. You're more, you're more entitled or more wanting to say, all right, I'm going to do the. If you know that you've got to press the guy from 150 yards out, no matter what you do, unless they're going to pass the ball around you. At least today, it seemed like they could maybe press because there was a one in was it the second half where they all seemed to have gone. There seemed to be 5 or 6 players.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, ratting around the ball. I thought, I like that. They can't get their head up and play that simple pass.
So have you played in the press?
Have I played? No, but I didn't. My days we didn't press. We played 4-4-2 half time, and when I became a vet, I was a wing back, and then as I got older,
now you're the gaffer.
Now I'm the gaffer. I tell them to press. I don't press nothing. No.
All right. The most important thing about a press is pressure on the ball from your forwards. Nothing can happen without that, and I think that happened because our forwards went for it. They closed off half the pitch. They went at their men, and because the midfield gap and the defensive gap were reasonable. It wasn't like Ten Hag where there was no pressure on the ball, so the defense have to drop. They were in a position to be able to go and do it. And what I'm hoping for is that was not a eureka moment, but it was a sort of, lads, we can do this. like Hoyland, Xerxes, whoever it was, Wheatley, they put pressure on the ball. I can go now. I can go. I can press. I've done this at other clubs, and it was brilliant as well because it demonstrated why you force the ball on one side in possession, so that when you lose it, you can then counter press where they're all pinned in. And that's what I was so pleased with, is that I felt that all our players always had an option on the ball. There was always a man around to get them out of trouble. Like, we did have one moment that I didn't like, and I think it was Lindelof and De Ligt might have been done by my great nemesis, Jordan Ayew. You know how much I hate him. He's always so good against us, and he was rubbish today. But we're not great at defending space behind us at the moment. But that's okay, because if you've got the pressure on the ball, like, they're not going to be able to play a perfect ball in behind. We've got enough time. And I thought that Mazraoui looked really good defending.
That guy.
What?
I mean, I was saying during the watch along, if he had cost 35 mil,
oof.
Well, I say
that's a lot for a right back.
Okay, maybe 25 mil.
Yeah,
right back, 25 mil. There's no complaints. The fact that we got him for 12.5, I think is a madness. He's so comfortable on the football. He doesn't get, what's the word you use for the press? For that, when you beat the press resistant. He is so press resistant, bruv.
What do you mean?
Mazraoui.
No, what do you mean by press resistant?
When players come, maybe I've got it wrong. Maybe I'm using the wrong word. When they come to press him, he just seems to skip past the player who comes in.
Okay.
Him. Is that the word? Is that the right word? Have I used the right word?
I don't know what press resistant means to be honest. It's a word that people throw out all the time. I've no idea what they mean by it. But Mazraoui, he has a very good first touch.
Tottenham away.
Is that who we've got?
Yeah, Simon Warner's just put it in, and so's Mark Coram. Arsenal have got Palace.
Absolutely brilliant. This is absolutely brilliant.
Let him come. Yeah, he's going to come with his bloody... that's nice. I'll take that.
It's going to show us how, like, we shouldn't... I don't care what is happening, how many injuries you've got. Spurs at home being beat 3-0 should never happen. They're not like... they're a nicely coached team. They've got some decent players, but it's a big enough game for United players to be motivated. We should always be winning that one. So this, Spurs away in a cup, and they will be desperate to win a cup. They will be desperate to win a cup. Like, is your brother a Spurs fan?
No, Don P's a Spurs fan. I don't think I'm going to be able to do a watch along for that. I think I might have to be at his house. I'm going to call him in a minute.
Yeah, no, nice one. I'm really excited about that because we should win that one.
Brilliant.
Whilst you're phoning someone on our show, we'll see what Jeff is saying.
No, I'm not phoning them.
We pressed all the time on the best team I played in, an open amateur, and my over 30 travel team. It was required. 30 travel team. All right, Arsenal, Palace, Newcastle, Brentford, Southampton, Liverpool. Right, hopefully we're definitely the big one. What is your definition of press resistant? I don't know what press resistant means to people, Jeff. Like, the way you get out of a press is you're supported by your teammates. If you rely on things like half turns and dribbles and dropping the shoulder, you get caught out. Like, look at Paul Pogba at Manchester United. Like, a team is press resistant, not a player, in my humble opinion.
Okay.
Like, look, you get on a 45-degree player angle to support your player. You work hard. You have to help your teammates. You can't be expecting, like, your fullbacks to be able to beat men consistently because you'll get caught.
No, it's not. That's not what I expect. That's not the position that I expect them to do it. I more expect them
That's
to
where
do
you
it
get pressed.
Well, no, well, not at all. Not the level of football that we play. They don't get anywhere near my football. I want my central midfielders to be press resistant.
Yeah, but I'm talking about Premier League, not like your Sunday
Okay,
team.
okay, all right, fair enough. But Mazraoui is. I think he beats the press every single time.
He may do. I mean, I don't think we were pressed particularly like hard tonight. Like, I think that when we go up against like, you know, the Liverpools, the Cities, the Arsenals, stuff like that, we'll find out like how good we are at resisting a press. But one thing that I did notice tonight is that our setup was far better for getting out of presses. Like, there a lot of time we knocked it back to Bayinda, and then he found Delo, Ahmad, or Delict out on the right.
You know, and the pass that he played,
lovely.
It wasn't the hoof. He played it on the ball, so it kind of curled into their run.
Yeah, like a deliberate action that gets you up the pitch, as opposed to Anana just booting it.
Yeah, the hoof.
Oh my God. We've got a poggers from Twitch here. We'll beat Tottenham this time. I hope so, my friend. Yeah. And it's always nice to see Welsh people in the chat for that name. Why you all laugh about the American amateur soccer pyramid? It's just an over. It's being dropped from an over 30s travel team for not pressing.
Sorry, it just sounds so funny.
Yeah, it's just a cultural thing, Jeff. But yeah, I mean, like, is there anything else that you saw today wildly different, wildly impressive? Let's talk to me about Lindelof.
He's shit.
Is his career okay? His career is done.
Yeah, he's shit. He's shit. He's from when he got shoved down, he could have kicked the ball out, but he tried to muscle him. And then for the next 4 minutes, Everton had the football and were popping the ball around just because of his specific mistake. So no, I'm not having Lindelof.
Do you think maybe that he was actually going to be the right-sided centre-back, and they made a change after that and put Delict out into that wide area?
Well,
because
Delict
that's the type of manager. Sorry?
Delict did okay out there, because you were saying that was the type of manager. Sorry, I cut you off before you started. Sorry, guys.
I was going to say that's the type of change that we didn't see from Erik ten Hag, for example, where very quickly we see a problem, which is that Lindelof cannot defend in wide areas against Jordan Ayew. Like, he's too strong for him. He's not able to deal with that. And that maybe, I think that Lindelof probably started at right centre back, and a change was very quickly made to put him as the central centre back.
I would tell you, I would have to rewatch the game. There's no way I would have noticed that by half time. There's absolutely no way.
Think about it, right? Your central centre. So in a back three, you have two.
No, I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying, when you were saying about the change, whether they moved, I have no idea whether they moved. I would have to watch the game again to see if he started at the centre. Because it's obvious to see if he started at the centre of the three or the right side, and then after he got done.
Who do you think is more likely to start as a central centre back, Lindelof or Delict? It's Delict.
Yeah, it's got to be Delict. Yeah, it's got to be.
I think that was a change, and that's the sort of stuff that I like. I would love that to have come from the players, but
no chance.
Yeah, but one thing I really liked today is that I felt that the players were taking more agency and things, like, because with Ten Hag, I don't think that they were ever empowered, and by empowered, I mean no one was ever in their right position, really. And I think that today we saw players getting in positions that suited them more, not being asked to do stupid things. Like we saw Delo occasionally playing as a pivot to let Casemiro go forward, and then after half time, that finished. Like a lot of teams, I think, would have tried to get Casemiro a hat trick. He played a hell of a lot deeper in the second half than he did in the first half. And that allowed Delo to basically play as a right winger. And and that is a sort of an Amarin thing, I think, because Delot is one of the few players in that team who's got the engine and the pace to be able to get up and down and stuff like that. So I was really pleased with that. I'd love to Casemiro to have got his hat trick, but I felt that we saw players just being used correctly tonight, and I like that because Ten Hag was so stubborn, man. Like Mazraoui is a number 10 when you got Amad Diallo on the pitch. I mean, Jesus Christ. Jeff is laughing with us about his amateur football. I'm hoping we can continue this momentum against Chelsea. I'm hoping that we increase it, to be honest. I want on Monday morning people to be saying, should we get Amarin in? Ruud's delivered 20 goals in 2 games. Well, our Twitch friend has said Bruno Fernandes first, then Murta. And then that keeper is retired already. Good stuff, mate. Okay. When he comes back, do you see Maguire in the middle with De Ligt right and Martinez left? We'll discuss that tomorrow night, Jeff. But I think you got a clue tonight by Mazraoui playing as the left-sided centre-back, essentially. He was a direct replacement for Martinez, and everyone's very, very happy about Mazraoui's performance. And no one has mentioned Martinez tonight, except for me blaming him for 2 goals. We sharpened the saw. Began with the end in mind, was highly effective by going back to basics and being ruthless. I agree, Double A. It's good to see you, but isn't it interesting how if you just focus on fundamentals and principles instead of overcomplicating stuff, you get good results on a football pitch? Leicester had a rude awakening tonight. Last, our players gave the fans something to be happy about. Jeff likes Mazraoui as well. He's the real deal. All right. We've done 52 minutes. There's 17 of you watching. Please give us a like or something like that. We'll tell you if you've got any questions or any thoughts or any observations, get them in chat now and we'll do our best to waffle about them. Tomorrow night, I have been railroaded by Mr. B. He's like a slave driver. He's made me watch 3 sporting games. I've got to watch another sporting game so that we can talk about Amarin's tactics. I haven't seen any other videos on them, but I'll give you a slight spoiler. I'm not completely convinced that Amarin plays a back 3. I think it's something slightly different. It could all be wrong, but join us tomorrow night and we'll try and give you a really sort of good breakdown of what is required.
Spread the word. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, but I mean, like, I've got to watch so much football.
Apologies.
I know it's my job. Mark Gemini, we weren't great, but we were clinical. I felt it's the other way around. Yeah, I thought we were really good.
I thought we were really good. Yeah.
Oh my God! Look who it is. It's Yali. We haven't seen him for I'd say 3 or 4 years, but he's found his way back. He's sprung the champagne. He doesn't drink alcohol. It was a joy to watch United play. The smiles were back. Yali. I think everyone agrees with that. It was just, it's like falling in love again. Chat Sport questions. Why, as fans, were we surprised by the upturn in performance, Mr. B?
I was no, yes, I don't know.
What do you mean, no, yes, I don't know?
There's always a bounce, isn't there? But I think what surprised me was how happy everybody looked. Like, just there seemed to be a joy on all of their faces. I don't know if Ten Hag was really that guy who sucked the shit out of all of them, or they were happy to have Ruud in. You know, I don't know. I don't know. I can't. I don't know. I
Have
don't
you
know.
seen the stuff about like more and more things coming out about Ten Hag? Have you seen some of the
No, I'll
things
be
that come
fair. Do
out
you know
today?
what? The thing is, he's gone now, isn't it? I'm anything to do with Ten Hag. I don't care. When Jose left, I cut off Jose. When Oli left, I'm not interested in any. All I'm interested now is Amarin. If he was the one, if he was an ogre, and he did, I have no idea. I haven't. I've kind of stayed away from all of that part of it. To be fair,
Yeah, but the question here is about the upturn in performance. So what has changed is that Ten Hag has left, and some of the things that Ten Hag did might be responsible for the upturn in performance, such as he made all the defenders sit on the left side of the changing room and everyone else on the right side of the changing room. And
what did you
if
say?
so, he made a law in the dressing room that all the defenders had to sit on his left and everyone else would sit on the right of the tactics board. And if you treat players like children, you can't expect them to act as
Serious?
adults.
Half
Yes, I
time.
am serious. And
What
stuff
are
like
they?
that.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
I would never. I would never in my wildest dreams even contemplate telling somebody where to sit in the changing room. As long as they can see the board, does
Yeah.
it matter?
Well,
Wow.
do you know why it's so important? It's because the players sort that stuff out themselves.
Yeah. You want to sit in the corner, this is your corner, you know, or you want to sit next to this. Wow, that is incredible.
Like in Chile, I sat next to the same French guy for 3 years, and I didn't even really speak to him outside of the games very often. It was very, very boring. But he was my buddy in the changing room. And so when Chatsport says, "Why are we surprised by the upturn in performance?" It's little things like that where when you take agency away from players and you don't treat them as adults, when you then put them on the pitch and they feel a bit freer, that they're able to sort of like, make decisions for themselves, you do get little upticks. So I'm not surprised at all, because with Yabba, me and Yabba argued for 2 years about man management, where Yabba wants a headmaster who comes in and tells you what to do.
He's
And
still like that, I think.
yeah, he would. He wants a dominatrix to just come in and like no halftime team talk, just whips, just whipping them. Bit of Rihanna on. But for me, in all aspects of life, I get my best performance when you feel part of a team. Your opinion matters, that you have your agency. And I think that what we're seeing from Ruud is he's more of a sort of mothery figure, like, the way he acts around Ahmad and stuff. And you can see the players respond to it. Like, I know they're multi-millionaires and stuff, but they still are people with agency and things. So I hope that's answered your question, Chat Sport. Certainly a lot better than Mr. B's star of yes, no, I don't know.
Sorry. It's late, man. I've been on this. It feels like I've been on this since 6 o'clock in the morning, man.
Look, stop being a victim. Great stream as always. Thank you very much. Thank you for your contribution, Simon. Yes, yeah, late. Spurs are next. We've discussed that, about how we're going to batter them. The atmosphere was lighter both on and off the pitch. I think that's another thing that I didn't consider about the upturn in player performance, is a cloud has gone. And also remember that the cup games have a different audience to league games. Like, get more day trippers.
I could have gone today for 20 quid, but I had work in the morning, so I was never doing that.
And you had the show later, and you watch along. Unless the team was 6 or 7 changes, they had at least 6 clear chances. I mean, like, Mark, what I would say, right, is that the big concern for me tonight was defending set pieces. Like, we conceded 2 goals to set pieces, and in the Premier League, set pieces, look at Arsenal. They have become like the sexiest version of Bolton you'll ever see. They live off set pieces, and we've got to get a lot better at defending them. And one little hobbit in particular needs to step it up a little bit. Mark's also saying he believes the shackles were off. Do you know what, Mark? Sometimes I think that, in my experience playing football, I hate instructions from the manager. I want them I want them as simple as possible.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. I understand what you said. I thought you said, how do you know how the manager wants to play if you can't take the instructions? But yeah, I get it. Mine's are very simple. Yeah, my instructions are very simple. Yeah.
Like, do you have training during the week with your team?
No. Okay. That's the problem. But I send out videos in it, so they understand sort of what I want done on the Saturday. And to be fair, we've done all right. We've won our last 4 in a row, so we're doing all right.
Well, I mean, for me, I used to have training 3 times a week, so we got a lot of this. It was beautiful, best days of my life. So that's where we did a lot of the stuff. But I mean, I got an instruction from the first the manager that I had in Chile, and it was really simple. It was get ahead of the ball. That was it. And so that meant that I was running channels, essentially. He didn't tell me I want you to look at the fullback and the centre back and run in between them stuff. It was just, when we've got the ball, make sure you're ahead of the ball. And when we don't have the ball, make sure you're behind the ball. I like stuff like that. And so I'm hoping that when the shackles were off, I sometimes think you're shackled by instructions and too much information and stuff.
Ten Hag seems to be that kind of, from when you're talking about him doing that with the room, he seems to be that kind of guy who, I want you to be here and pass the ball at a 45-degree angle to do this and that. Yeah, you give them a framework, but you have to give people the individual. You have to give them, the framework needs to be set up so that they can still use their individual talents. You know what I mean? But it ends up being like robots.
Now, Simon Warner has given us, I believe this is Richard III, Cry Havoc and Let Slip the Dogs of War, which is some Shakespeare. Although it was done by someone who was about to lose his throne and his kingdom and his life, so I'm not sure how apt it is. AA, attitude is everything. Have we got any other questions? Look at this, Jeff. You're expecting this bunch to know classic literature. Right, where are my tomatoes? Have some of this, Jeff. Look at that. You're getting tomatoed. How dare you? That's my point. I think the players were allowed to just play with perfect, Mark. I think we agree there. All right. Is there? And Andrew is saying, good discussion. He's in the background. I hope you're not doing anything naughty, Andrew. You do worry me. All right, Mr. V. I think we're going to draw. We're going to draw to a close there. On Sunday, you're doing a watch along.
I will do my best. I have an airport trip. My son has football, and I'm not sure how timing wise I'm going to be able to do all of that. But I'm going to do my best. I'll do my best.
All right. There's no show on Friday either, is there?
No, Friday's going to be Friday. We'll talk half time.
Everyone's got the night off on Friday, chat. Go to the cinema. Spend time with your partners. You don't have to be here on Friday. Enjoy yourselves. And tomorrow, I'll do some stuff on Amarin, which, if you like football tactics and things like that, head in. But if you just want to, say someone's a baller or something, it's probably going to be a bit. It's going to be a presentation, basically. And if you don't like that, you don't like it.
But tune in to find out if you like it. And again, spread the word, yeah?
Well, I don't
want
riffraff. All right.
Thank you.
No riffraff. All right. It's like a notch time, isn't it?
Like a notch.
Like a notch.